Hey guys, it's Taivy. Welcome back to my channel. I am back again with another video. Okay, let's finally discuss Gossip Girl. Even though I have been off of YouTube for about a month, I have been keeping busy in real life, and one of the things that I actually got the chance to finally do was sit down and watch Gossip Girl. Now, I've watched the first 3 episodes of the new Gossip Girl series, and I decided, you know what? I have an opinion about this show. I want to make a review. I'm part of the generation that grew up with the OG cast, so I just knew that when this show came out that I was going to have a lot to say. What better way to express my opinion than on my own platform? So if you're watching today's video, chances are you're looking to start the new Gossip Girl series, or maybe you have started the show already and you want someone to talk about it with. Well, hi, I'm glad you've watched the show thus far, so we can talk about it together. Before we get into today's video, I just want to show you guys the palette that I'm wearing. This is Venus 3 palette by Lime Crime. My friend Yuri gifted me this. He got it for me as a gift. And it's really pretty, so I'm wearing this palette on my eyes right now in case anybody was curious. Really pretty palette. And then I have a lot of those face stickers, and I love doing rhinestones around my eyes. I think I'm going to keep doing that more often on my channel because it's just something unique and fun. So anyway, this is the palette that I'm wearing. Let's get back into the video. In front of me right here is all of my notes from the show. Immediately when I got a thought, I just wrote it down. So these notes are a little bit out of order. So I will be reading off of these notes today. Now, for those of you who are not familiar with Gossip Girl, the backdrop of what Gossip Girl is, it's about a group of privileged kids who happen to live in and around the Upper East Side of Manhattan. And Gossip Girl is an all-knowing, like a Perez Hilton blog. Originally was a blog that would talk about Manhattan's elite, the it girls and the socialites, their deepest, darkest secrets that no one else really knew about them. They were followed around wherever they went, and it caused friction between the friendships, and it dug up serious things that even led to like legal issues. But now, after that show ended in like 2012, there's a Gossip Girl that we're talking about today, which is supposed to be the standalone series, not a sequel, but a spin-off of the show that has its own rules just many years later. It takes place in a Generation Z version of the show. I find it interesting that the first episode sets the rules of Gossip Girl. The teachers in the show, in my opinion, represent the original Gossip Girl audience. So basically myself and anyone else close to my age who grew up watching Gossip Girl, I feel like we would be the teachers in the show, just looking back on the students before us and marveling at all the drama that ensued when the show was running. Now, before we continue, do I think you need to watch the original Gossip Girl to watch this one? Absolutely not, because they were able to reduce the entire original series to like 5 sentences in the first episode to get you caught up. It does help to know the playing field and to know what type of people exist. So now let's go over the characters before we get into each episode that I saw. So we have Julian. She's like the first main character that you really get to see. She has the shaved head. She's an influencer. Cute, pretty, fun. I like her vibe. By the first episode, she seems very interesting. You could tell there's a lot going on in her life, and I think it's very interesting that Gossip Girl, this series, is following the type of teenagers that we have in 2021, because in 2007 we didn't have 16, 17-year-old influencers walking around. Kardashians were just starting. Instagram didn't exist back in 2007. So nowadays teenagers are influencers, and they have their Twitter accounts, Instagram accounts, and their YouTubes and their TikToks running, and they're making money, and they're young and they're influential and they're wealthy. Like that's realistic for this generation. Then there's Zoya, who's supposed to be her half sister in the show. I guess spoiler, not really a spoiler because you kind of know that going in. That's like the main point. I really like that character. I think there's a lot that they can do with her. My only hope from the beginning is that she doesn't get drowned out with all the plot lines and get thrown around, kind of like Little J did in the original series. If you don't know who Little J was, that was Jenny Humphrey, played by Taylor Momsen. If you want to know these characters, watch the original series. It's good to pull from the OGs as inspiration to build up the characters that exist in this fictitious version of Manhattan. Before Zoe even starts as Constance Billard, she knows who she is. She knows her style, and she's not trying to change for anyone. She just wants to be accepted, so I really respect her a lot. Monet is the girl that has like braids and, okay, first of all, the only thing I have to say about her is that she's unnecessarily mean. I love that she's black. We love black women in white spaces. Go ahead. And I did some research on Monet. Her last name is Dehan, and apparently she's like old New York money. I think it's perfect because we should be writing these type of characters in. And if we're gonna have an unnecessarily mean black girl, then okay, let her be unnecessarily mean. But not gonna lie, I find her character a little bit useless right now, but apparently she's the most wealthy out of the friend group that is in this new cast, though it doesn't seem like it. I think in the first episode they show glimpses of her and her ability, her power. I wasn't getting those vibes from her. I don't know. Then there's Luna La. She's giving mean Dua Lipa. I don't know much about her other than the fact that she's just mischievous and rude, and I don't know how Julian could be friends with someone like her. If I was Julian, I wouldn't have friends like Luna or Monet. I don't care how much money, power, influence you have. I don't like their personalities, but you know, I never like mean girls. Audrey is one of my favorite characters in the show so far. She's giving blonde Blair Waldorf. Something about her is very familiar. She's another rich kid at the school. Her money, I think, is more new money. Her mother is a fashion designer. Just like Blair Waldorf's mother was a fashion designer, she has a nice privileged life. She's probably never had to want for anything. She just does what she wants and parties and stuff, but she's very fun. I think she's one of the most headstrong people on the show. Despite the money, despite the image, I think she just wants to live. She wants a normal life. She wants to be happy, and she's looking for her happiness through other people and opportunities. But Audrey's very cool. I like the actress very much. I like her, and I cannot wait to see more of her as the show progresses. Aki is an okay character. I like his hair. It's pink. He seems very soft-spoken and sweet, but I like him. I think that there's a lot to his character that we don't get to see yet, and I hope to see more of him moving forward. I want to talk about Max Wolf. Okay, now the reason why I need to talk about him is because, first of all, I don't like his name. Maximus Wolf, we'll come back to that later. Anyway, he's giving pansexual Chuck Bass. I think he has a lot of range as an actor, and what surprised me the most is that I didn't realize he was Sebastian from Legacies. I'm a huge TVD fan. I remember when Gossip Girl behind the scenes stills were coming out, I didn't pay any of the cast any mind because I didn't know them. They were unknown actors, didn't care. But in the meantime, I've seen Legacies. I just started the series because I saw TVD and the original, so I'm finally up to Legacies. And there's a character named Sebastian on the show. You know, he was entertaining. Toxic, but entertaining. Anyway, I'm watching Gossip Girl and I'm like, Sebastian? Is that you? And I'm just like, when did Sebastian end up in Gossip Girl? Shout out to Thomas Doherty for playing Max Wolf. You have great range, great chemistry with all your fellow actors on the show, and I feel like you are definitely carrying the show on your back because you have great lines, and it's one of those things where the show, the characters can wear you or the actors wear the character. And I'm pretty sure Thomas's character can be kind of poetic in the way that he expresses himself, and he's clever and he's witty. Usually with higher education or privileged education, you reap the benefit of higher vocabulary and more lofty vernacular. Anyway, his character is very, very, very complex. We love a complex character. However, I feel like it's not just the writing. I feel like Thomas brings a lot of his own, breathes life into Max, if that makes any sense whatsoever. He's one of the main reasons I'm still gonna watch the show. Audrey, as well as, I want to see Julian prosper. The last character I actually want to talk about before we get into the episodes themselves is Obi Bergman. First of all, I didn't really like his name, but I guess that's the point, is to have interesting names so that you remember the character. What do I think about him? He kind of reminds me of a mashup between Nate Archibald and Dan Humphrey. Can't help but to relate to the original cast. And sidebar, I do not really understand, nor do I even like the relationship that he has with Zoya, but we will discuss that later. Okay, so now I want to talk about each episode bit by bit, just grazing over what the plot of each episode was and then my takeaways. So this is going to be very quick. By now, most of you have already seen most of the show, if not the whole series. So anyway, let's get into the episodes. So episode 1 was called Just Another Girl on the MTA. I felt like I was just getting to know all the characters, and there was a lot thrown at you all at once. And that was when everyone's first getting introduced. You get to meet Julian, her friends. I didn't have too many thoughts from the first episode, just wanted to get to know the characters. I think the first episode was very interesting because that's when Julian and Zoya first meet and you see them looking so happy together. That confused me at first. I was expecting Julian to suddenly be angry and not to like her sister. I did not like those boots that Julian was wearing. I think I'll never like those boots. I tried to understand her fashion sense the entire episode, and I was just like, why are you wearing the boots? I liked the friendship that Julian and Zoya have, with their chemistry seems organic. Although as the show progresses, you start to see there's a shift in the dynamic. I also feel like Constance St. Jude's, the way the school is introduced in the first episode, it's kind of weird because it feels like the school is just being controlled and run by kids. That's odd. It wasn't like that in the original series, so I'm just like, what happened that these teachers are cowering in the corner for all these rich kids? And I guess it's because people like Monet get people fired like that. By episode 2, which is titled She's Having a Maybe, I'm noticing that the status of everyone is really not about what their last name is. It's more about their first names. And even though in the original cast that was the case, they still had their last names to live up to, which was a lot of pressure. Which would explain why the characters were constantly spiraling mentally, because they had huge last names to live up to. I believe what matters in this version of Gossip Girl are the students' own identity and their reputations. Not who their dad is, not who their mother is, not what property they own. Yes, Obi Bergman's character does have a father who owns a lot of property apparently, and is like a mogul of some sort and donates to a lot of charities or whatever. But that's not like a driving factor of who he is. I think in the original show, the parents were just as much involved in the plot line as the kids were. But again, this is only after the 3rd episode. A very classic example of a Gossip Girl plotline is the parents' messiness interferes with the kids' happiness. So that's something that I do see a little bit more in episode 2. You also dive a little bit more into Julian and Obi's relationship, and I just feel like she definitely takes him for granted, and he has become like a prop boyfriend, so I can see why he broke up with her. However, what I don't understand is how he can break up with her and just so easily pursue Zoya. In my mind, Zoya is like 14 and Julian's like 18. I don't really know how old the characters are supposed to be, but to me that's weird, and he shouldn't be dating this younger girl. She doesn't know better. She may like him and find him attractive. At the same time, I think he's really a jerk for that, and I don't know how Julian can sit back and watch her boyfriend just go with her younger sister, and the fact that she seemed okay with it at either the 2nd episode or the 3rd episode is just beyond me. I find that so strange. I don't know anyone who could just sit back and watch something like that happen. Couldn't be me. Now, by episode 3, just called Lies Wide Shut, I think was my favorite episode so far. It's when they're all going to that theater together and they have the most chaotic circus of the seating and the tickets. Everyone's trying to sit with someone. Julian's father has a girlfriend, happens to be Beck from You, which starred Penn Badgley, who played Dan Humphrey in the original Gossip Girl, so that was kind of fun to watch that connection there. I was just like, Beck, what are you doing? Leave these older men alone. Anyway, that was the 3rd episode. My thoughts on that, I wrote, the show is finally getting in gear to Gossip Girl fashion. By the 3rd episode, you finally hear Kristen Bell's voice, who played the voice of Gossip Girl. You finally get to hear the narration, which is really fun. It really helps to move the scenes along, because without that background narration, all the scenes just seem kind of awkward, weird, but there's no one telling the story in the background in the first 2 episodes. You're like, what's really happening? We already know the makeover trope never works. I was terribly bored watching Little Z listen to one of Julian's friends to try and appear to be cool, uninterested, and sophisticated, when she just needed to be herself. The messiness on the show is so contrived, but it definitely piques my interest. Okay, now with episode 3, that episode is very annoying because you have not Monet, but Luna La, the Dua Lipa mean girl, trying to make over Zoya so that she can still be interesting to Obi. You ain't got to impress that 18-year-old creep. You don't have to impress him, Zoya. You don't need to date him. But she has Zoya thinking she needs to be annoying. The typical, like, I'm gonna behave this way so he likes me. And then he notices that I'm acting different and it turns him off and it's dramatic. And that, plus Julian is fighting with Zoya. I didn't like that either. That episode was just so messy. They just wanted to give Luna something to do because her character is just poorly written. In my opinion, I don't care. No shade to the girl, like the actress, but They're just plot devices right now. They don't have much of a... If you remember these two girls from Gossip Girl, the original series, this would be them if they actually had stuff to do. Now that Gossip Girl is officially verified on Instagram by episode 3, we get to see more of the drama unfold, which is going to be nice. Alright, so that was my thoughts on the first 3 episodes. Not a lot to go off of, but more so I think everyone testing out their chemistry. That's why the scripts aren't that involved, because they just want to see how the characters flow together. To give the writers time to get their rusty pins going again so they can like give us a really good ensemble show. But I do think that the cast is doing the best that they can right now. I do have a few closing thoughts. I think Julian is too kind for her own good, but she's also very good at playing the victim, and she's a bit messy. But I do like her because she has redeeming qualities, and she's black, so representation matters. I think Monet and Luna are useless plot devices. Monet has a lot of money. I want to see more of her lifestyle. Luna, I don't know what she does. What is she? Like a wannabe Hadid sister? Like, what does she do? I know Monet is like marketing and Luna is supposed to be styling. They use Julian to practice their interests for real life. Beyond that, it's giving useless. Teachers are way more relatable than the main characters on the show, but maybe because the teachers are supposed to be millennials. I don't even know what, they're really young, so like the teachers must be like 27 or something. I adore Audrey more and more as the show progresses. I have no negative thoughts about her. I just hope she finds herself and figures out how to cope with her mom and everything going on, because she does deserve to be happy. Girl, I see you. I see you. I think Maximus's skills are unrivaled. I haven't seen a more poetic character than Chuck Bass. Maybe they wrote that character to be reminiscent of him, but he has his own identity. He's way more expressive and charismatic and charming, and I just want to give him all that respect to his character and not say he's a carbon copy. I'm going to keep watching for his character as well. This might be an unpopular opinion, but Obi is the epitome of cisgender white guilt, toxic masculinity. He's very judgmental and projects his beliefs onto everyone, and it really solves no problem to preach to the choir. A lot of his good deeds are performative, and even though he seems to mean well, I can't look beyond the fact that he's another out-of-touch, privileged, bored rich kid. And that's my opinion. So I don't care for Obi's character right now. He's not authentic in the way that I think his character's trying to be, and his good deeds are just an extension of his own selfishness. I think that Julian is not realistic in many ways. I don't think any human would just fold so easily and let other people just win over them and take them down, take the things that she wants. How are you gonna be the most popular girl and the weakest link? And lastly, I hope to see more dynamic to Aki's storyline as he explores his sexuality and feels acceptance for himself. So right now, I would rate Gossip Girl, this series, a 7 out of 10. I honestly think Gossip Girl is just literally teachers trolling Generation Z. It's literally all it is. There's really no mystery to it because up front we know who Gossip Girl is, but I think where the mystery will come from, I guess we're just all gonna find out together. I think in this version, the point is not who Gossip Girl is. It's more like what Gossip Girl knows. Maybe that's the point. I also think the characters are not fully fleshed out yet, and it's gonna take a couple more episodes or maybe the entire season for us to really understand who these people are. It takes a while to really meet new people. It's not just a new season of a show, it's a whole new series, new rules. I personally feel like I will appreciate them even more once I learn all of them. There's also not much of a storyline. I think the storyline is writing itself. The writers are just writing it on a weekly basis. I'm just kidding, but I really don't know what the storyline is. We're just kind of like a fly on the wall watching these rich people fall apart. No one is really in control of anything on the show. Everything's just happening to them and they're just reacting to it. I guess that's what makes it fun, what makes it interesting. I guess I like this. Let's just see what happens. But that is everything that I have. I'm definitely gonna keep watching. The show is not terrible, and I'm willing to look beyond the original show and take the show for what it is. It's strong enough to be its own show if you knew nothing at all about the original series and you don't play the comparison game. Alright you guys, that is everything that I have for today's review. Obviously you'd have to watch the show to really see the scenes I'm talking about. With just being only 3 episodes in, there's only so much I can really analyze and break down. If you have watched the show so far and you have opinions, definitely leave me a comment down below so we can discuss further. So everything I said today could be completely 180 degrees different later, but either way, Thank you so much for watching. I appreciate you guys so much for supporting my channel, and I cannot wait to see you in the next video. Bye!